Okay, it looks like quite a few have joined. Welcome, and welcome to today's session on how to create your brand and shape your vision for the future. This is being offered by SCORE in Northeast Pennsylvania, and we're very excited about the topic and the presenter today. I'm sure we'll get much from it. Um, Before we begin, though, I'd like to say a few words about SCORE. We are a resource partner of the Small Business Administration. And we have over 300 chapters throughout the US. We help small businesses through a variety of means. So number one of the bigger ones, one of the more important one, the most used ones is our mentoring services. We have thousands of mentors located locally through these various chapters, and you can access mentors through that process. Also, we offer low and no cost business training, and this is an example of one of those. The webinars that we offer are typically low cost or no cost, and they are archived on the web, on our website, to be accessed at any time. So you can access any of the archived webinars, and you can see any offers that are provided if you go to org.score.org. Lastly, you can also download business templates and resources from that same source. So we're happy to share our knowledge. We have many volunteers. I volunteer myself through the Bucks County chapter, but please take us up on our offer to access mentors. It's been a very worthwhile service for us. Without further ado, I would like to introduce the woman presenting today. Her name is Ellie Sharp. Ellie is the CEO and founder of Ellie Sharp Consulting. Been in business for over 11 years. So she can speak personally through her own personal experience. And she does everything that is grounded in theory. She draws from engineering, business management, continuous improvement, organizational dynamics, and coaching. And she has a master's level qualification in each of these disciplines. Her work is in practical application of theory and teaching the tools, analyzing complex issues, and making work flow. She's been creating best strategies, manufacturing and transactional business processes, and truly great teams for 30 years. I'd like to turn it over to Ellie. Ellie?
Hi, everyone. It appears we're having a couple of technical difficulties. The chat appears to be disabled. People are not being able to see the chat, and I guess they can't see the link to your slides either.
Hold on.
I can
People are
see the
not
chat, but I don't. I can see the chat, but I don't seem to be able to enter into it. This is in the Q&A session.
Yeah, there's the Q. You have the Q&A, all right?
Yeah.
And chat.
Could you guys see the slide too on the screen when Steve was presenting?
I see your slide. People are not seeing the chat. Can everyone see the chat now? Let me see. Hold on. Let me see.
Q&A is okay. Slide was okay.
Okay. Hold on. Attendees. Hold on. Let's try this. Okay. What did that do? Okay.
Working. Oh,
Okay.
thank you guys.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's good to have you back.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Woohoo! All right.
We're in business.
So we got a lot of you out there. Good to see you. We are going to be asking you to put your questions up and also make comments if you like. It's going to be a really interactive session. The slides aren't up right now. I'm going to put the slides up in just a second. If you guys can see my face, you will see the slides very shortly. Okay, so this is going to be an interactive session. It's going to hopefully get you guys to think and think differently about who you want to be in the world. there will be some homework after this. You're not going to be able to completely redo your branding and your vision and everything else during the 90 minutes that we have to get together. But this will give you a really good start and yeah, get you thinking. So without further ado, let's go into the presentation. Okay, so can you guys see a slide now that says what happens if you're not clear on who you are and what you want doing in business? Yes. All right. This is good. We're cooking with gas. Okay. So before I start going into the content here, I just want to say one thing, and that is that this is not just about who you are in business. It could be also who you are as a person. Think about all of the people that are making lots of money doing Instagram and TikTok and those kinds of things. That's all about creating their own personal brand. So no matter whether you're thinking about your personal brand or your for-profit business brand or your not-for-profit business brand, or you're just even thinking about going into business, this is for you. So real quick, what happens if you are not clear on who you are and what you're doing in business? What do you think happens? Again, type in the chat, give us your ideas. You can't sell a product. Well done, Cindy. Yes, time is wasted. Alicia, confusion, you fail. Yeah. Confused others. Yeah. Your audience doesn't know who you are, no direction, you don't accomplish your goals, no position in the marketplace. Yes. Good job, you guys. This is absolutely what's going to happen if you're not clear about who you are and what you're doing. So let's just take a second look at that. So thinking about from a strategic point of view, new strategies are not going to help you to get where you're going because you don't know what your strategy is. Projects will be not linked together. Your priorities will be unclear. You really are kind of shooting in the dark in terms of how you want to be showing up to people and what kinds of problems you're going to be helping people with. You'll have either not enough customers, and how many of you have had that problem, right? Or alternatively, and this is actually just as bad, that you will say yes to too many of the wrong customers. So you won't be doing what's core to your values and who you want to be. You'll be just kind of saying yes to everybody and spreading yourself really super thinly. Customers won't trust you. Why? Well, because they don't know who you are. If you're not being really clear about how you're showing up, then they won't know you as a brand. You also won't be able to charge the prices that you want for your products and services. And then the last thing, and probably most important, you're going to be stressed out and run ragged because you really are kind of running in circles without a clear direction of exactly what's going to give you the biggest bang for the buck. So what we're going to do is to give you some tools and some strategies so that you don't have to suffer from this confusion and all the other good things that you guys pulled up into the chat. We're going to really start to think about, so who do you want to be in the world? So we start with figuring out your brand. So your brand is made up of a few key elements. The first thing is, so why are you in existence? Why did you decide that it'd be a really good idea to start a business? What do you believe in? And what do you live by? And if your brand were a person, like, what would they be like? Would you like that person? Would you want to hang out with them? What would they be like? And then the last thing, what sets you apart from everyone else? No matter what you're doing, you're going to have a bunch of competitors out there. So what makes me choose your brand and your business versus somebody else's? We also have something called the 3 Ps, and you can see these in the bottom left-hand corner. And those are your passions, i.e. what inspires you, what makes you get out of bed in the morning. What's your superpower? What are you really known for being absolutely excellent at? And then the last P is, what problem do you want to solve for people? Then on the right-hand side, we have a kind of picture here to describe that. The brand, the top box there that's who you are. You then build a brand identity from that. And so what does that look like? So things like colors, fonts, look and feel. When people see something that you post either on your website or on some kind of social media or wherever, how do you show up? What does it look like? What does it feel like? And then the last thing is branding, and that's about going out and targeting your ideal customer. So I'm going to start us off with a brainstorm, and this brainstorm is called, who do I want to be? So this is really where you start on your homework. I'm going to give you a few minutes to think about this in the background. So make sure you have a pen and a blank sheet of paper handy, or you can do this electronically on your screens. I personally, I would do it with a pen and a piece of paper because it allows you to be super free form and you can draw pictures if you want. It's not just about, typing a list of things. So what I want you guys to do individually, and this will set you up for the entire rest of the session. So please spend a couple of minutes thinking about this. In 1 or 2 words, like, who do you want to be in the world? What are you the very best at? If somebody were to describe you, what would they say your absolute strengths are? What are you known for? Do people recommend you for something in particular? What will people pay you to do? This is pretty important when your livelihood relies on it. How can you be helpful in a way that people will pay you to do this? What's your unique idea or your experience? What's brought you to this place where you can offer your unique idea, your unique skill, your unique experience? And what problems can you solve? So we've got a couple of people sharing in the chat, which is excellent. Think about, so Felicia, you're a working artist, but what kind of art do you do? Who's your target? What themes do you work on? A few other ideas. Think about as much color as you can in terms of describing who you want to be. And just write these down wherever, scribble them all over the page. For those of you that may be watching this webinar as a recording, feel free to pause right here and you can spend as much time as you like thinking about this before moving on to the next. In terms of everybody else that's on the live version that we have here, I'm going to move on and take this into the next level, but just make sure you have this sheet handy, and as things come into your mind, just add to it. This is going to be somebody's going to be a micro farmer growing produce. So with that in mind, Khalil, this is going to be your garden right here from which you're going to grow beautiful versions of who you're going to be as a business. Okay. All right, so let's move on. So we're going to start thinking about the elements of brand. And the first one of these is, well, how do they all fit together? So I've been struggling with this for many years. I've had my own business for more than 10 years now. I also have an MBA, so you would think I understand how mission and vision and values and all those things fit together beautifully. Well, that wasn't true. So even when you look online, so you look at companies' websites and they'll have vision and mission maybe backwards or mixed up. And so I decided while I was doing the research for this webinar today that I'd try and build a model that explains how these elements of brand fit together in a way that kind of makes sense and is easy to remember. So I hope you like it. All right, so this is my model, how the basic elements of brand fit together. And as you can see, it's a pyramid, right? Easy. So starting at the top of the pyramid, we have the tagline. So this is a catchy phrase that really is kind of aimed to get to people to remember who you are and what you stand for. So this is like a really snappy, sometimes funny attractor to you as a brand. As you go down the pyramid from the top, you get more detail. And actually, this is the way we're going to build our brand and our vision. So it's going to help you to think from a kind of really lofty idea, think down into the details as we go down through the pyramid. And you can build it as you go. As you go down through these elements, you'll get more and more clear about who you want to be. So the second thing we're going to look at is the vision. And this is really an aspirational statement. So it's not like, yes, I'm definitely going to do this right now, but it's like, so if you were going to say, this is what I want to contribute to the world, the vision would be it. The next thing down the mission is a little bit more detail. I can't see myself wearing these. Can you? Alex's slogan. Excellent. All right, you guys are jumping the gun. We're going to get there in just a second. So the next one is the mission, and this is a little bit more detail. So the vision is like aspirationally, who do you want to be? The mission is like, okay, so what do you do and why do you do it? How do you get it done? And then the last thing underpinning the entire pyramid are your values. And this is like how you show up, how you interact with the world. And values used to be kind of a nice to have thing, and not everybody had them, but nowadays these are more and more important, and they're really kind of a way to differentiate you as a business versus everybody else. Okay, so let's look at the tagline, the top one of these first. While I was doing the research for this, I looked up, got inspiration from lots of other people, and this definition is actually from honeycopy.com. These guys did a really good job of defining the tagline, so I thought I'd share it with you here. So basically, it's the slogan, as somebody said earlier on in the chat. It's that catchy thing that cleverly tells the world who you are. And I love what they said, this second bullet point. If a brand is a name that you call yourself when you shake somebody's hand, the tagline is like the interesting thing you say immediately after you say what your name is. And thinking about that really helped me to kind of understand the essence of the tagline. Okay. So let's go into some examples, and this is a quiz for you guys. So hope you're ready with your keyboards here. Whose tagline is "Just do it"? In the chat, fast as you can. Yes, there you go. That one was easy, right? Good job, you guys. Okay, what about Eat Fresh? Whose tagline is that? You guys are good. Nice. Subway. All right, this one's a little bit more difficult. You're going to have to think about this one. Shave time, shave money. Whose tagline is that? Gillette, Manscaped. Not quite. Keep going. It's a cut price supplier of shaving equipment. Dollar Shave Club. Good job, Nathan. Yeah, Miriam, you got it too. Dollar, Darian, yes. Good job. Okay, Wonder's already on the next one. The quicker picker-upper. Cool. Everybody's getting that one. Bounty. Yes. That one's on the TV enough times that everybody should pick that one up, right? Okay, what about the next one? Melts in your mouth, not in your hands. You got it. M&Ms. Nice. And then this last one is a little bit cheaty. Yeah. Kay Jewelers. And these guys are on the TV all the time, right? With they actually sing their tagline. So it's a little cheesy, but hey ho. All right, good job. So that was a bit of fun, but really the point is that you know immediately which brand the tagline is associated with. So these guys obviously do a really good, they do a good job with their taglines. Okay, so let's have a look at tagline example and guidelines. And this is where we're starting to build your own tagline. So some guidelines for you. Like, keep it super short. Like, seriously, 2 to 5 words. Mine's actually 3 words, so smack bang in the middle there. It's what you do the very best at, or simply that you are the very best. Some people's taglines are like, we are the best. Sometimes people have fun like with their tagline, saying, well, we're not the best, we're the second best. Welcome to whatever town in the Midwest with the second biggest ball of string in the world, that kind of thing. And then the last one, take a stance and don't be afraid to break the rules, right? So the top guideline is a good example of 2 to 5 words. Well, if your tagline does need to be outside of those rules, just do it. As long as it describes the essence of who you are. Alex says, I'm number 1. Nice. Okay, so at the bottom here, this is actually an example from my business. When I first started my business, gosh, 11 years ago, my initial tagline was processes, teams, and individuals. And as I've developed over the last 10 years, I realized that my tagline was a bit boring and didn't actually explain who I want to be in the world. Like, processes, teams, and individuals. Like, what does that even mean? Basically, it meant I wasn't really clear about what I wanted to do and who I wanted to do it with. So, I rebranded about, gosh, a year ago, 18 months ago now, and my tagline now is making work flow. So for my business, it really is all about getting people's work to flow better together. And sometimes that's a process, sometimes that's in a team, sometimes that's an individual, but making work flow is much better. It's a much better descriptor of exactly who I am in the world. Alex says there isn't a requirement for slogans, just make it mine. Correct. Yes. Yeah, it's supposed to be the essence of you, right? And Karen's got a bit of a double entendre going on there. Legal abuse, it's not what you think. Legal abuse awareness versus legal abuse. So yeah, don't be afraid to play with the words. Yeah, good job. Okay. So moving on, let's just think about this a little bit. Basically, I want to give you guys, again, a couple of minutes just to think about it with some structure. So if you start with like, okay, create the tagline and it's like a blank sheet of paper, it's kind of difficult. So I came up with a structure here to help you. And basically it's like, it's easy. It's 5 buckets, right? So go back to your initial brainstorm sheet. Remember that, the big one that we did at the start? And have a look at some of the words you had written down there. Do any of those words pop? Can you string them together? Like here's mine as an example, making work flow. That's it. It's easy, right? Who do you want to be? What are you driven to do? What describes you succinctly? Think about those things. And again, it's just an initial set of ideas. If any of you have questions related to this right now, or just want to share your ideas according to the tagline, then please do. I'm curious as to how Ellie's face is on the slide. I'll tell you about that at the end. It's not a Zoom feature, but I'll tell you about it at the end if you like. There you go. Affordable bliss. Look at that. 2 words. Nice. I'm more of a brand, personal brand, spiritual coach. The chat's moving too fast for me to keep up now. Making it official is our business. Nice. The chaotic good. Quality, not quantity. Nice. Okay, handmade with love. I love that. Eat your weeds. That is cool too. You guys are great. Sculptural adornment, networking on your time, charting. See, you guys have got the idea. This is great. Okay, so we've made a start on the tagline. Let's move on and see where we're going next. Okay, so next in our pyramid is the vision. Let's think about that a little bit. So again, going back to Google to help me to figure out, well, how do you define a vision? I found this one from Brex.com. These guys did a pretty good job of explaining it in a way that's kind of succinct and easy to understand. So basically, it's an aspirational statement. This is really important when you think about vision. It doesn't mean that you're there right now. It doesn't mean that you're going to be there in the next year or two. In fact, you might never, ever get to completely achieving your vision. Basically, it's your view of what the future could look like for your company or group. And it's supposed to be kind of like a North Star, like a guidepost that helps to keep you on track. And if you're lucky enough to have people that work for you, then yeah, it will help them to keep you on track too. Doesn't matter if you don't get there today, tomorrow, next year, or even ever. It's your guidepost. So the second statement, it helps to think of a vision of part roadmap and part inspiration. I thought this was excellent because it's not just a dream, which is like the pure kind of aspiration, and it's not like a roadmap, which is your concrete strategy. It's kind of in between those two things. And then thinking about the long term helps you to not switch focus too often. So this like kind of think about it a few years out, or perhaps never even. It gives you that kind of solid direction in which to guide your decision making and where you're taking the business, for both you and people that are interacting with you or working for you. Okay, so some vision statement examples again I found on the internet. So top one, BBC. This from you guys you can probably tell from my accent. BBC is something that has been part of my life for a really long time until I moved to the States. And their vision statement is to be the most creative organization in the world, which is kind of interesting because like they make TV. So it's not just about, oh, we make great TV programs. The vision wants to be more than that, right? Thinking about Disney's vision is to make people happy. Well, obviously not everyone in the whole world or everyone for the rest of their lives, right? But while you're in one of the Disney parks, their vision is to make you happy. And I think they do a pretty good job of that. Instagram, capture and share the world's moments. It's like, yes, they're a social media platform, but they kind of want to be more than just that. They want to be something that's contributing to the world. What else? Oxfam, that bottom one's kind of interesting. So a just world without poverty. So how lofty a statement is that, huh? So these guys have been around for, gosh, ages, years and years and years, but they're still working on a just world without poverty. Will they, as one organization, ever achieve a just world without poverty? Probably not, but they'll contribute towards that. So it really is capturing the essence of that contribution you want to be in the world. Okay, so here's an example again. So think about your own business, your own brand, and think about like, where do you want to be in the future? So this is an example of my vision statement. So I would like to make the world simpler, one process at a time. So obviously that's going to take a while, and I'm only one person doing this. So the amount of impact might be small, at least to start off with, but like, that's who I want to be. I want to help the world be simpler by making people's processes simpler. So it's really important. Like for me, I can at least contribute to this. Maybe I won't make the whole world simpler just yet, but we'll see how many people join the business. This is also talking about my company, who I am. Like, processes is really at the core of what I do. I'm not comparing myself to any other consulting business down the road. And it's really short and simple, right? So again, I'm going to give you a structure here to help you think about this. And there's 3 buckets this time, and they're prefaced with a to. So for me, it's to do what, right? So it's to make the world simpler in my case. Sometimes you might have a where, I don't. And then the how piece is one process at a time. So just think about this for a couple of minutes for yourselves. Again, go back to that big brainstorm sheet that you had, and see if there's anything there that you can use to say, what are you doing? Where do you do it? How do you do it? Facilitating lifelong dreams on screen. That's pretty good. Okay, good job, Lindsay. Healthy and affordable produce, sustaining the land and the human spirit. Nice. All right. Anybody else want to share? Facilitate success. Nice job, Carl. To help people remember the power they lost within. Wow. That's awesome, Darianne. Cool. Making smiles, one creation at a time. Excellent. Empowering artisans to sell handcrafted products by sharing their tales with the world. Excellent. Bridging the gap between psychology and the arts. There's some really good ones here. I desire to inspire. Nice. To make peace a priority. Oh, wow. That's a good one. Nice. All right. You guys are getting it. This is good. Okay. So in the interests of time, let's move on and start thinking about the next piece of our pyramid. So again, we've done tagline, we've done vision. So the next thing we need to think about is the mission. All right. So again, I did the whole Google thing, find out who's defining or whose definition of a mission statement seemed to be quite good. This one is from Indeed.com. Absolutely, I was not expecting a mission statement to come from a web company that kind of helps to hire people for other companies. But hey ho, you never know, right? So anyway, what they found, or what they said, was that the mission statement is a declaration of the purpose and function of your organization. So remember, the vision statement was kind of this lofty aspiration. And then the mission statement is, okay, so how do we now distill that into what's your purpose and how are you going to do it? So again, effective mission statements are brief, but yet powerful. And it's like, what is your reason for doing business, right? It's, what do you do? It should also reflect your values and culture in the way that it's visioned, in the way that it's written. So just by reading your mission statement, I can get a sense of the essence of who you are and some of the things that you value as a business. And actually, this mission statement this is your value proposition, right? So if somebody wants to come and use you for a service or a product, the mission statement should come and it should tell you what your value proposition is. Like, this is what I do. Okay. So here's some examples for you. The first one, the American Red Cross mission statement. It's a little long, but it does explain what they do. And I guess the American Red Cross do a lot of different things in a lot of different spaces. So I guess being a little long is important to describe all of that. Philips, the next one down. This is really punchy. These guys also do a lot of different things. If Philips, you can, like, they make household appliances and TVs, but they also make things like, you know, medical scanners and all sorts of things. So it's like they do a lot of different things in these different spaces. So improving people's lives through meaningful innovation does actually speak to what they do at that higher level. JDRF. So these guys basically are all about, they're a charity that's all about preventing and curing and treating type 1 diabetes. That's the T1D there. And that kind of really explains what they're doing. Patagonia is a nice one too, like building the best product, cause no unnecessary harm. It's like you can see from their mission statement that that piece of their values is brought right up into their top line statement. And using business to inspire and implement solutions to the environmental crisis. It's not just about making really cool fleece jackets, right? Okay. So let's have a look at some example and guidelines on this. Again, this is from my business. We help companies ready for change create the best processes in order to reliably deliver exceptional results. So the first thing is be concise, right? If you have to have a mission statement that's like more than a sentence long, then it's really too long. Also, more than 25 words is really long. Like nobody's going to remember what the mission statement is as soon as you get above sort of 25 words ish. Make sure that it really represents your company, what you do quickly. Using strong action verbs is a good idea, and really kind of think about what is the impact that you want to have. So it's not just I do X, it's I do X because I want to achieve Y, right? So make sure you have those two pieces to it. And then think long term, right? The last piece is really super important. And actually, I've changed my mission statement since I wrote this because I realized that it is actually still a little bit vague. So don't wait until it's 100% perfect. Get it kind of 80% and then put it out there and get feedback. And by putting it out there, I mean, put it on your website, put it on your LinkedIn or your Facebook or wherever it is that you show up as your brand, your personal brand or your business brand. Let it ask your ideal clients, does it resonate with you? As you read my statement, do you think, oh yeah, this is for me? That's a really good way of judging whether your mission statement is hitting your target audience. And if you get that feedback, you can refine it as you go, incorporating that feedback. I think I'm actually on maybe version 42 right now. It's like, it is an iterative process. So don't think you have to get it 100% right out of the gate and stick to it forever and ever. You can tweak it as you understand more about who you want to be and how you want to show up. Okay, we'll do a little brainstorm again. And once more, I have the structure here to help you. So you're not having to do this from scratch with a blank sheet of paper. So think about it in these buckets. Who? So who is your target audience? Who is your ideal customer? What do you do for them? What problem do you solve? How do you help them? The third one, well, what result? What's the point in doing that? What can they expect? And then sometimes you can also add a why to that. So taking the example of my company, we help companies ready for change, create the best processes in order to reliably deliver exceptional results. Well, actually, I've tweaked that up since then, and it now my mission statement now is to help busy med tech teams. So it's not just like companies ready for change. Who's that? That could be any industry. It really doesn't tell you who I work with. But if I describe it as busy med tech teams, it really gives you a mental image of who it is that I want to work with. And I've expanded the what a little bit. So it's not just the best processes, but we create clear strategy and align priorities and great repeatable processes. So you can see it's even crisper than it was the first time that I put this together. And like I said, it's been updated like a ton of times in between. So it's going to take you a little time to figure this out. Anybody got any ideas they want to share in the chat? Inspiring those who struggle through life to stand in their truth, free themselves, and live the life they dream. Wow. I need to know more about your business, Darian. This is cool. Anybody else got something they want to share? You don't have to check all the boxes, by the way. I don't check all of them. Just use it to help you think about, I'm a spiritual empowerment coach. Nice. There you go. So why should I choose you? Think about that too. Fill gaps in processes and projects. Okay. Might need a little bit more detail around that. Primary goal is to provide healthy and affordable produce to our community using methods that sustain the land as well as the human spirit. Nice. Okay. Let's capture the moment, the beauty and the magic between you and your equine companion. Cool. Giving hope to people and financial resources to charities. Nice. Okay, there's some good ones starting to come now. Collaborative for advocacy and neurodiversity. Can prevent discrimination in health, education, and the workforce for neurodiverse. I'm sorry that disappeared in the chat on me then. Produce inspiring programs to move attendees to achieve success, along with personalized mentoring to address individual business challenges. Nice. All right, cool. You guys are getting the idea. This is great. All right. So let's see what else we've got. So we're making a good progress down our pyramid. The next thing I want to talk about is values. And this is perhaps the most difficult part of thinking about your brand. So let's get into it. All right. So again, I had a look to see what was out there in terms of values definition. And this is from Indeed once more. And somebody in the chat said earlier that Indeed has really upped their game. They surely have. They are doing a pretty good job. So this is what they had to say about values. So it's really like, what is your identity? Like the company, the brand has an identity. Like we said before, it's kind of like, imagine that as a person. How do they make decisions? How do they talk to people? What makes it get up in the morning? This is really difficult to do, especially when you think you need to kind of refine that down to maybe 3 or 5. You don't need like 20 values. That's really not going to tell anybody about who you are. So basically the steps to do this, and we'll go through this in a minute, is to kind of think about things that resonate with you. And then you can spend some more time thinking about, well, what do they mean? The point of having the business values is really kind of helping to give your business not only the outward facing, this is who we are, but also it helps if you're lucky to have employees. So how do you get the right people to come work for your business? Well, your values is a really good way of judging as a prospective employee, is this business something that I think is important? Do they act in the way that I would like to act? How do you attract the right customers? It's really, the values are important on very many different levels. What do you find important in relationships? What are your personal values as a business owner? This can be a really good place of where to start. And ask the people that work for you. Again, if you're lucky enough to have people that work for you, ask them what their values are, and that might help you to, you know, they're working for you for a reason. So reverse engineer it and ask them what they think is important about how the company operates. You can also research on the internet too. So my customers are kind of mid to large med tech companies and some pharma, and every single one of those has a page on their website that lists the company's core values. So it's super easy to go research what your customers have. Okay, so let's look at some values examples. There's some so the kind of different ones here I pulled out. So the first company in the top left, Atlassian, this is a modern Australian software company. And you can tell immediately just by looking at their values that this is not your standard company. So they demonstrate who they are and what to expect when you interact with them. Look, like an open company, no BS. Who has that in their values, huh? Don't, and then some kind of expletive in there. Don't the customer, right? This is really cool. It's like it's telling me that they're young at heart. They like to speak openly. They don't mince their words. They have fun. Those kinds of things. It really jumps out just by reading their values. American Express, these are a little bit more traditional. There's actually quite a few of these too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's a lot. But they all start with we, and this is quite common. Somebody here, I worked for Amex years ago. We called them the blue box values, and they have changed substantially. Yeah, I'm not surprised. These are a little bit dated. There's a lot of them. And they're kind of like pretty broad too. Like this doesn't make American Express stand out from any other company just looking at these. And then Whole Foods, they're also we statements. Like I said before, this is really common with values. But these guys are really starting to talk about, well, what differentiates them from, you know, any other place where you would go buy groceries. So they're really looking at what they're selling, how they think about their customers and their team. And yeah, a little bit more about kind of more of an inclusive maybe outlook than looking at any other grocery store. So 5 to 10 values is a good number. 30 would be absolutely excessive because it's not going to tell me who you are, right? I need to know from your values what kind of a person your company would be if it was a person. All right. So let's look at an example and some guidelines here. So here's some things that you can think about to help you figure out what your values might be. And you're not going to do this in the next 5 minutes. I just want to tell you that. Just sort of start thinking about some of the things that might be possible. So why did you start your business? What are your personal values? Can you bring those into your business? What do your customers expect? Like, how do they want you to be with them? If you don't have a team yet, imagine what your dream team would be. And that dream team, what values would they have? This is a really good one. This one helped me because I don't have any people that work for me. But if I did, this is what I'd want them to show up like. And the ones you can see on the right hand side of the screen here, these are mine. The next step after this would be to make them actionable, and we'll talk about that in a second. But just for right now, think about, you know, what are the things that you find important. The top one of mine is we are accountable, and this is important because as a consulting business, I need to make sure that my customers get the results that we've promised them. Doing what is right is also important because I work with medtech and pharma, so there's a lot of like patient considerations. There's also regulations. Those two things are really like, I have to have those as part of my business to do what I do. Should they start with we? No, not necessarily. You can if you want, but no, you can make them sound however you want. We thrive on collaboration. Nice. Okay. All right. So the next step we're going to do is just think about this a little bit. And I have here, it's not really like a bucket structure like we had for the other brainstorms, but what this is basically just trying to give you some common values in a list form on the left and the right. And then also there's a bit of a more creative word cloud in the middle. So just spend a couple of minutes looking at this and saying, okay, from all of the words you can see on the screen, are there any of these that pop out and resonate with you? Is there anything that you think, oh yeah, that's important to me, or that's who I strive to be, or that's how I really want to show up? And don't worry about, only having 5 or 10 right now. Just write them down on your brainstorm. You can figure out which ones are going to be like the more important ones as you go through this. This is really just the first cut. Inclusion, there you go. There's lots of different ones here. So what I did with mine was spend about a half day thinking about this and completely secluded. So I didn't want any interruptions. And I just wanted time to kind of focus and ponder. So I took a half day away from the office here and just really thought about, okay, so who do I want to be and how do I want to show up in the world? And then did the next step, which I'll talk to you about in just a second, which is to say, okay, so what does that mean? Because right now it's just a one word. Okay. So we've got some ideas coming into the chat here. People before profits, respect for diversity, transparency, hope, humor, laughter. Yeah, all of this. Good job. Making it fun. Collaboration, inclusion, teamwork, accountability, persistence, character. Nice. Authenticity, truth, making a difference, sustainability, freedom, growth. Nice. Okay, good. All right. So it's going to take you a little bit of time to really figure out all of these, but I just wanted to get your brains chunking a little bit, thinking about this. And then I'll show you what to do with it next, because we're not going to be able to do this real time. Like I said, you're probably going to spend maybe a half day thinking about it. Okay, so next steps is from the ones that you identify. So remember I had the ones on the right-hand screen before, just the little gray boxes or kind of beige boxes. The next step is to say, okay, we are accountable, but what does that mean? Like for me in my business, accountable can be interpreted very many different ways. So like I said to you guys before, as a consulting business, I have to deliver on the promises I make, making sure that the clients get the results that they wanted and that they hired us for. And this, we go that one step further by saying that we guarantee to get those results for you. There's a lot on the screen here, so I'm not going to read through each one. I just wanted to put that up there so you can see an example of where I took mine next. And then I am going to talk about the bottom one though, because we give back. Here's an example right here, you guys, with this webinar. We volunteer as SCORE mentors, both in terms of mentoring businesses, but also providing free training like we're doing right now. So this is one of the ways that we give back as a business. What goes on the website, the words or the descriptions as well? Both. Absolutely. Say what you mean, do what you say. So I'll show you an example of how that looks on my website in a little while. But yes, both. You need to put the detail behind it. Balancing your books with a balance between equity, representation, practical expectations, consistent progress, and personal satisfaction. Yeah, so this is more like the mission statement piece. So you guys are still, it is an iterative process, and you know, you're going to be going backwards and forwards between the steps in this pyramid. That's fine. Okay, and it does take time. The values, I want to just stress again that it really takes time to get your values right, but it is very well worth doing. Lindsay says, how do you balance expressing your brand and protecting it? That's an interesting question. So for me, protecting my brand, like I'm not afraid of anybody stealing my brand because it's Ellie Sharp Consulting. Unless they happen to have the same name as me and do the exact same business, then I'm not really worried about anybody stealing it. But yes, if you are, you can trademark your logos, you can do patents, Alex says correctly there. Yeah, it depends on what you're doing. And whether you, like, if you can actually make money through your brand, like just pulling out one of the ones we had from earlier, that like Nike. If I was Nike, I would definitely protect my brand because I wouldn't want anybody else stealing it or copying it or making poor quality goods in my name. Taglines can also be trademarked. Yes, they can. There you go. All right, so let's move on. So looking at my brand on one page, it looks like this. Yes, nice, Anna. They can have the recipe, but not your sauce. That is great. Okay, so this is my brand on one page. We went through all of these things one by one. You can see how they stack together. So from the top of the pyramid here, I just want to answer a question here before it disappears. It seems like the values underline the mission and vision. Can you start with the values first? You could. To me, it makes sense to go the other way round because I'm thinking more deeply as I'm going down the pyramid. So it helped me to figure out like who my ideal client is going to be in the vision and the mission section, and then that helped to shape the values. As we create this, we start at the tagline and then down to the values. That's the way that worked for me. But hey, you know, Diane, if you want to do it the other way around, and Laura too, if you're really clear about your values, go for it. There is no right or wrong here. It depends what works for you in terms of your thinking. Okay, so looking at my brand on one page, you can see the elements that we've covered, but it's kind of boring, right? This is the meat and potatoes, but we need to make it look interesting and attractive. So the next step is to convert your ideas into a brand, from a brand to a brand identity. And I just want to give you a look at that. So again, this takes time to do. And I actually engaged the help of a friend of mine who was a graphic designer to help me think about, you know, what does my logo look like? What does my website look like? Because she was much better at the creative thing than I was. But basically what you're doing here is taking all of the elements of your brand and bringing them to life with the identity. So the left-hand side of the page here, this is my homepage. And the very first thing you see on the homepage is my mission statement right in the middle here, but it's on the backdrop of this kind of funky image. And the image is supposed to portray, you know, I'm working in the med tech field. So I wanted it to have a kind of slightly futuristic, science-y feel about it. And the colors kind of support that too. So I use a lot of black and white and gray and red as a contrast to that. This is the look and feel for absolutely everything I put out, whether it's on the website, whether it's on LinkedIn, on Facebook, whatever. This is like even down to, you know, when I show up at a client, I wear a black jacket and I have either a black or a white or a pink shirt on, because it kind of works with the colors of my brand identity. There's also my vision statement down here and my tagline. So you can see these top elements all on the home page. And then this is a page a bit further back in the website. And somebody asked earlier, do we put the detail as well as the top level values on the website? Absolutely. You can see it here. And it's also now in the right font and in the right colors, so that again, it's all the way through the website, it's got the same kind of look and feel. Marlene says, we show up in black and purple with her team. Excellent. Should I put this on my About Me page with my bio and credentials, or on a separate page? Should I put what? Your brand identity pieces on your About Me page? Need to clarify. Oh, the mission and mission and values. Should I put this on my About Me page? I would split up the mission and values. So the values is really about you as a person with your business, I'm guessing. But the mission, this is like, how do you attract people to your business? So that's why with my example here, I have it on the homepage, because it's really telling people what I do up front. So, you know, I forget what the numbers are, but when you have people that surf and hit your website, if you don't grab them in the first few seconds, they're gone. They move on to the next thing. So I really want people to know as soon as they land on my website that this is what I have. I have portions sprinkled on the website between the homepage, About Us, and Process page. Yep, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Anna and Anissa saying the same thing. Oh, here we go. If you're multi-hyphenated with more than one business, do you tie the brand identities? It depends. So it depends on like how closely those brand identities complement each other, I guess. I think you could go either way on that one. Very different. Okay, so if they're very different, then maybe keep them as separate buckets, because you might confuse the message, particularly if you have different ideal customers or target markets. If you got to speak to your ideal customer. So if you're doing very different things for very different people, I would split those up. Is this good? Our experience, expertise, and professionals on your side. Yeah, I think it's a start. I'd like to know what it is about your experience and expertise. So if that is your tagline, I don't know if you're thinking about for your tagline or your mission statement, but it conveys that you're experienced and you have expertise, but I don't know in what. Like, what problem are you trying to solve? Okay. So just a couple more. I don't want to hammer to death my website here. This is not about me trying to promote my business. I'm just giving you an example. You can feel free to look at my site, Rob Steele Ideas, as you wish. Also look at other websites. So if you've got competitors that you can identify, go see what they're doing, right? And look at your clients' websites too. You can get ideas from there. I create luxury memorial candles and candles for sororities and fraternities. Should I combine the statements? You could go either way on that. Unfortunately, I can't see your name, or you're showing up as MJ because you're already at the top of my screen. You could go either way on that. The look and feel is probably going to be different from in terms of your target audience, but what you're doing is the same thing. So maybe combine those two. Where do you, oh gosh, you guys are putting stuff in the chat so fast, I can't keep up. To trademark your logo or word phrase, you can go to the Pennsylvania State Department of State. Yes, or any state. It doesn't have to be Pennsylvania. It takes a long time to do. I haven't done it because it's not important to me. It does take time. But yes, every state can help you do that. And yes, international protection too. Again, depends on who you are, and what you want to do. Okay. So I'm at the point now where I've really finished in terms, yeah, some of us are from Maryland. Too right, Maryland. It's not just PA here. Nice. Or New Jersey. Okay, so I finished with the content and Virginia. Yes, actually California. There are people from all over the country here. So yes. Each state can help you do that. And you can also, here's a good plug for SCORE mentorship. So no matter where you are in the country, if you reach out and ask for a mentor, they can help you with the specifics of your state, your business, what kind of structure you have, all sorts of things. Here we go. Reposting a post from earlier. Where do you put out what problem you're trying to solve? Is this in the vision? So it can be. It depends on how much detail you want to go into. I think with my website, it's a little bit further down. So initially, I talk about strategy and processes and aligned priorities, and then just if you scroll just down a little bit, I give you examples of specific problems that I can solve. So, do you need help with X, with Y, with Z? So. It's not in my vision, but it depends on how snappy. So the vision is supposed to be pretty short, right? The mission can be a little bit longer, but it depends on if you can make it snappy or if you're trying to do more different things. What do I got here? Then where is it in About Me? Well, gosh. Lots of different questions here. So yes, it can be in About You, but if you're talking about problems you're solving, I would put that right at the front of the website rather than buried in About Me. Am I accepting requests to serve as a SCORE mentor? I can't unfortunately take 346 of you, which I believe is how many people have registered for this webinar. But what we also do have is a central place that basically assigns a mentor for you. So I can't guarantee that it will be me. I do have a lot of work with the business, but reach out, and there are so many talented SCORE mentors out there just waiting to help you guys. It doesn't have to be me, right? This was a great webinar, Ellie. Oh, thank you. Reevaluating this for myself has been so valuable. Thank you, Daria. I really need to update my website, so this was timely. Excellent, Lindsay. Okay, cool. I have no idea what time it is. 1:10. Great energy and information. Okay, so if anybody's got any more questions, I will hang around and answer them. I do think that Steve has some things he wants to say about SCORE and mentoring, so maybe we should do that, and then if there's any
Ellie?
further questions, I'll hang around.
Yes, Ellie?
Yes.
We did have, it seems like folks were using the chat, and that's fine for the questions. We did have a question come in. I thought it was a good question.
Okay.
In the beginnings, your work can define your brand, correct? And then do I need a brand initially at startup phase?
I would say yes, because the brand is like deciding who you want to be in the world. So yes, you're a startup, but you need to know, like, so what are you doing? How are you going to attract people to come and use your product or service? It's a little hard to think about it straight off. And like I said, when I did mine, I've actually changed it. So you need to at least have somewhat of an idea of who you want to be in the world and why people should consider using you or your business. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can tweak that as you go.
Great.
Lindsay says, I didn't have one, but then people tried to give me one and I didn't like the one they wanted to give me. Oh, that's such a good point. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So if you don't say who you are and what you want to be, then yeah, somebody might give you a brand that you don't like. Lisa, I highly recommend to connect with a SCORE mentor. I have an awesome mentor in New Jersey. There are so many awesome mentors, and I didn't have one when I started the business, but I wish I did, and it would have helped me with a lot of heartache and missteps had I had a SCORE mentor when I started the business. So, yeah, and it's free. It's excellent.
This was exceptional. Thank you so much, Ellie, for sharing this information. I'm sure folks will go away with lots of work. It sounds like if they're serious, they're going to really put in the time. As you're saying, you really need to take the time with this and think it through. And like you said, either way, either going from values to tagline or tagline to values, whichever works best, that's what you want to do.
Cool.
This has been great. This is awesome. Thanks, Ellie. So yeah, as we said earlier, once again, you can find us easily on score.org. You click on the link if you want if you want Templeton resources, you click on that link to get business training like webinars to capture archived webinars, including the session itself. So in addition to the PowerPoints, the recorded session will also be archived. So for example, this session, you'll be able to get within probably the next 24 hours. It will be on site for you to access. If you want to go directly to Ellie and her organization, as she suggested, she is busy with her business, but if you have specific questions or want to follow up, she's obviously available for you. You can see it on this slide to contact her at her business. This has been a great session. We thank you for your participation. We hope that you're going to be, we'll see you at future webinars, and I wish you the best for the rest of the day, and the best of luck with your business. Take good care. Bye now.